Hello! Good morning everyone! I am Erica May Carolino, your English teacher for today, and you can call me Teacher May. Again, good morning class! How are you all today? Oh, that's good to know. So before we start this day, let us all stand up and have a morning prayer first. So class, you may now take your seats. So let us check your attendance first. I will call your name one by one and say present if you are here, okay?
Yes, teacher.
Anna,
Present.
Ben,
Present, teacher.
Cassie,
Present.
Malu,
Present, teacher.
Kara,
Present.
Dexter,
Present.
Cassie,
Teacher, present.
Maria,
Present, teacher.
Quincy,
Present.
Zia,
Present, teacher.
and Kiara.
Present, teacher.
Okay, very good class. You are all present today. Now children, did I give you assignment yesterday?
Yes, teacher.
Oh, so please pass your notebook assignments and I will check your assignments later. So please pass it forward, okay? So before we start with our lesson for today, let us all have a short energizer first. So please stand up and follow the energizer I prepared for you.
I'm alive, alert, awake, enthusiastic. I'm alive, alert, awake, enthusiastic. I'm alive, alert, awake, awake, alert, alive. I'm alive, alert, awake, enthusiastic. I'm alive, alert, awake, enthusiastic. I'm alive, alert, awake, enthusiastic. I'm alive, alert, awake, awake, alert, alive. I'm alive, alert, awake, enthusiastic.
Did you enjoy your energizer class?
Teacher, it was fun.
Okay, me too. I enjoyed it. So, please take your seats now. We will have a short recap first. Yesterday, we discussed about very good class. We discussed about literary text. So, what are these literary texts? Do you remember? Oh, so let me define what is literary text. So, please listen. Listen carefully, class. So, when we say literary text, these are the texts which intend to entertain the readers. These are the work of literature in a coded text. So, in parts, it may use figurative language. And as a whole, it always communicates ideas from different and from its literal meaning. So, now, let's have a short drill. So, I have here some words which you are going to pronounce it and spell it. Is that okay, class? Oh, that's good to know. So, first word is, can you pronounce it? Very good. We pronounce it as them with a silent. Very good. With a silent H. So can you spell it now? T H E M E. Once again. T H E M E. We pronounce it as. Very good. We pronounce it as them. So, are you ready for the next term? Okay, the next word is
Imagery.
very good, class. The next word is imagery. We pronounce it imagery. So, spell it out, class. I M A G E R Y. Imagery. Very good. Okay, can we now move on to the third word, class?
Teacher.
Very good. So the third term is, oh, this was a long term, I should say. Point of view. Once again.
Point of view.
Very good. Can you spell it out? P O I N T O F V I E W. Point of view. Okay. Can we now move on to the fourth term, class?
Teacher.
So the next word is
Antagonist.
very good. Antagonist. Once again,
Antagonist.
antagonist. So let us spell it out. A N T A G O N I S T. Antagonist. No,
Antagonist.
class. Please repeat it again.
Antagonist.
Antagonist. Very good. Can we now move on to the last term, class?
Teacher.
Okay. The last term was protagonist. Can you spell it out? P R O T A G O N I S T. Protagonist. Wow, you are all excellent, class. So please give yourselves like 5 big claps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very good, class. Now, class, I want you to focus and pay attention. So, I have here a short film and I want you to watch carefully and take notes the different important details you may encounter as you go on watching this short film. So, the film was about a short story entitled The Great Turnip. So, please watch carefully.
The Great Big Turnip. The old man has turnip seeds. One day he plants the turnip seeds. He waters the seeds too. One turnip grows. It gets big. And it gets bigger and bigger. The old man is very excited. He thinks,
I can make turnip soup. I can make turnip bread. I can make turnip jam too.
Every day the turnip grows more,
Oh my!
says the old man one day.
It is a great big turnip. Now it is ready.
He pulls the turnip. He pulls and pulls and pulls. And he pulls some more. But he can't pull it out.
Help! Help me! Come and help me!
The old man and the old woman pull and pull and pull, but they can't pull it out.
Help!
They say to the old cat.
Help us! Please come and help us!
The old man, the old woman, and the old cat pull and pull, but they can't pull it out.
Wait here.
The old cat goes to the young mouse.
Help! Please help us! Pull out the great big turnip!
The young mouse pulls the old cat, and the old cat pulls the old woman, and the old woman pulls the old man, and the old man pulls the great big turnip. Pop! The great big turnip comes out.
Ouch!
Everyone falls over. At dinner, they eat turnip soup. Eat your soup, eat it all up, says the old woman. Eat your turnip bread and turnip jam. Drink your turnip juice.
What's for dessert?
Says the old man. Turnip ice cream, says the old woman.
Yummy!
Now class, I have here some illustrations and I want you to identify what are these illustrations or pictures you observe here from the screen. So, these are the illustrations. What do you observe, class?
Third illustration.
Very good! These are illustrations of cover of different books. So, I should say that these are some examples of literary textbooks wherein we can get information and knowledge. Class, are you familiar with the short stories? I think you are all familiar with these short stories.
Teacher, we are familiar.
Okay, that's good to know that you have ideas and you are all familiar with different short stories. Okay, when we say short stories, this become part of our lives since then, right? Yes, since you are little. I confidently know that you are all familiar with these short stories. So, let us define what is a short story. Who wants to read about short story? Please raise your right hand if you want to recite.
Me, teacher, me.
So, short story. Okay, stop there. So, thank you. So, short stories are a great way to experience the elements of this plot structure such as introduction, rising action, the climax, falling action, and the resolutions over the short span of reading. Okay, thank you for reading. So, short stories are a great way to experience the elements of this plot structure such as, what are those terms? Introduction, rising action, the climax, falling action, and the resolutions over the short span of reading. These different components can be then plotted in an infographic visually represent the development tension, and resolution in a given story. So, in addition, it is a short narrative that is written to entertain and sometimes bring message or the theme to the reader, or what we call the golden rules. So, in Tagalog, these are the stories or yung mga maikling kwento na may kapupulutan ng aral. So, all these stories are based on struggle or what we call the conflict. The author tries to resolve or the climax we found in reading the different short stories. So, by its nature, short stories are concise and focused on a few elements such as the character, conflict, description, setting, and the plot. Can we now move on to the characteristics of a short story, class?
Teacher.
Okay, please listen attentively. So, a short story contains only one major character, plot, setting, and a theme. So, these short stories are usually focuses on a single conflict, character, or emotional effect. So, first, let us define what is character. So, who wants to read about characters? Please raise your right hands if you want to recite. Okay, go on. Read about characters. Thank you. So, characters are the any person or animal can be found in the story. So, these are the major characters we found or usually seen in a short story. So, there are two meaning of the word character, class. So, the first one was the person in a work of fiction. So, what was that? Very good. These are the persona wherein fictionally made by the author. So, the second one was the characteristics of a person or the attitude of a person being found or find in a short story. So, when we say character, what comes first in your mind, class?
Attitude.
Very good. These are the attitudes, the portrait of yourself or the self. Very good. All of your answers are correct. So, characterization tells how the author develops the characters we found in a short story, especially the main character or in Tagalog, tama, yung bida sa istorya or sa kwento. So, this is done through physical appearance on what the character does or does not to do. What character says, thinks, feels, dreams, what others say about the character, and how they react to him, and author's word choice in descriptive or meaningful passages, or in Tagalog, yung mga malikhain at makabuluhang pagpapahayag or pagkakalathala ng mga salita na nasa binabasa natin, or what those words and meanings which author wants us to, or wants his or her passages in a good way to deliver to us. Short stories uses few characters only. So we have the protagonist and the antagonist. So let us all define what is protagonist and the antagonist. So let me read for you what are the differences of these two characters. So first, the protagonist. So when we say protagonist, one character is clearly central to the story with all major events having some importance. Death is not a change, serves as the most important character, and changes and grows because of experiences in the story, or what we call in Tagalog the yung bida sa kwento. So, are you now familiar with this protagonist, class? Very good, that's good to know. So, can we now move on to the antagonist? Thank you. So, when we say antagonist, these are the opposition of the main character. In Tagalog, yes, the kabaliktaran. So, these are the opposition of main character. The antagonist does not change. There are types of antagonists. People, it can be people, or it can be found in nature and the society, which can be the disturbance we found in reading or viewing short stories. Am I clear, class? Okay, thank you. Now, can we move on to the next characteristic of, or the element of a short story? Okay, so the next element or characteristic was, can you read? Thank you. The setting or the place where and when which the story takes place or happened. So, setting serves as the time and location in which a story takes place. So, for some stories, the setting is very important. So, the setting was very important in reading or in viewing these different short stories. Class, in your own opinion, the setting was important?
Yes, teacher.
Very good. Setting was very important in short stories or in any other literary text because without this, your literary text or your literary pieces cannot be acceptable or cannot be imaginable if setting was disappear or disregarded. So there are different several aspects in regards with this setting. So the place must be safe. The second, the time. So all characters or the different rules which are capable or in cycle of these short stories must be on time. So the next, the weather condition. So it must be just like place, it must be safe, and it must be applicable or suitable in different genre or setting which you may use in viewing or filming these stories. So the next, the social condition. So one character must be healthy. So next is the mood or atmosphere. So mood and atmosphere was the most important also because one character cannot portray or cannot deliver his or her or the messages we found or passages found in short stories if he or she does not in mood. So like in acting, so one actress must be in good mood so that he or she can deliver all the lines she or he need to pushes away for us to appreciate and understand carefully what we are viewing or reading, just like also in short stories making. Now class, can we move to the third element we found in a short stories or any literary text?
Yes,
Okay,
teacher.
let me read it for you. So the next element was the problem or the issue or conflict we found in the story. So it is essential to plot. So without conflict, there is no plot. It is the opposition of forces which ties one incident to another and makes the plot move. Or in Tagalog, these are the very good class. These are the major problems or conflicts which can which can make the short story more meaningful. So if we have problem, we also have very good children. We also have solution. So this was the next element or characteristics of a short story. So solution, yes, I know you are all familiar with solution. So solution makes how the problem gets solved, right? Very good. This is where main character solve all the problems he or she may encounter within the plot or the conflict. So are we now clear with solution, class?
Yes, teacher.
That's good to know. You are all fast learners. So can we now move on to the last element or characteristic of a short story?
Yes, teacher.
Thank you. So please read it about them. Once again, what is this last element?
Them.
Thank you, them. So please read about them. Thank you, class. Again, them was the central messages or the insight into life revealed through a literacy work. So the main idea of the story, this was the main idea of the story, or the point of view. The theme in a piece of fiction is its controlling idea or its central insight. So now, what are those elements again, class? Can you name those terms of or the elements or the characteristics we tackled? What are those? One? Yes, very
Character.
good. The second?
Setting.
Very good. The third?
Problem.
Great job. The fourth one, class? Wow, excellent. And the last one?
Them.
Wow, you are all very good. What are those elements again? The setting, the character, the problem, the conflict, or the solution? The problem or the conflict, the solution, and the theme. Again, the setting, the character, the conflict or the problem, the solution, and the theme. You must always remember those characteristics of the short story. So, class, do you want to hear a short story?
Teacher, yes.
Are you sure? Do you want to hear?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, let me read a short example of a short story that I've prepared for you, class. So, please listen carefully and ace the moment while I am reading the short story. Am I clear, class?
Yes,
So,
teacher.
please focus and pay attention to me. Okay, class, let me read the short story for you. So, our story was all about the selfish giant. So, do you know what is a giant? Yeah, so this is all about the short story of selfish giant. So, every afternoon when the school got over, a few children went to play in a garden. The garden was most beautiful garden they had ever seen before. So, it belonged to a giant who had not been home for a while. The garden was large and was full of lovely soft grass. The flowers bloomed here and there over the grass. There were 12 peach trees which bloomed beautifully during springtime. The blossoms were pink in color and seemed like pearls, wherein we can found in the sea like pearls. So, in autumn, the trees gave rich sweet fruits. So, the birds sat on the branches and sang happily. How happy we are here, they said. So the children would scream happily also. So as you can see, the children are happily playing in the garden. One day, the giant returned. He had gone to visit a dear friend who lived far away. After 7 years, the giant thought of returning, and when he came back, he saw the little children playing in his garden. He was infuriated at them. "What are you doing here?" he asked them angrily. The children got scared and ran away. "This is my garden," the giant spoke to himself. "I will not let anyone play in it. Only I can play in my garden." So, the following day, the selfish giant started building a wall. So, what are those walls? So, the walls were built all around the garden. It kept poor children away. He put up a notice board. All trespassers will be prosecuted, it said. What was being said to the notice board? Very good. All trespassers will be prosecuted. As you can see in the picture, the giant built a wall. So, the poor children now had nowhere to play. Every afternoon, after their lessons were done, they used to go around at the garden. The tall walls stood between them and the garden. "How happy we are there," they said sadly. Again, "How happy we are where," they said sadly. Soon, spring came. All around the country, the trees bloomed and little birds sang happily. Only in the giant's garden, it was still winter. The birds did not care to sing and the trees forgot to blossom. Soon, the grass started dying and the flowers did not care to bloom. The garden felt sorry for the children. They saw the notice board and were not happy about it. So class, what was happened to the garden of the giant? Very good. The garden of the giant started to dry and dying. So Snow and Frost were the only ones who were pleased with all of this. Spring has forgotten this garden, they exclaimed. We can live here all year long. The snow covered the grass with a white blanket and Frost painted all the trees silver. Then they invited the north wind. So the north wind will blow and dance around in the giant's garden. The giant was wrapped in thick furs all day. This is a good spot. Let's invite Hail too, suggested the north wind. So what was the north wind? So in Tagalog, yes, malakas na hangin. So hail came and he rained relentlessly all day long. The giant did not understand why spring won't come to his garden. He sat in his window every day, looking at the sorry state of his garden. I hope the weather changes soon, he prayed. What was the giant said? I hope the weather changes soon. But the spring never came, nor did autumn. The snow, the frost, the north wind, and the hail were having a merry time in the giant's garden. And then, one morning, when the giant was still in his bed, he heard a beautiful melody. He thought that the king's musicians were passing by. So, the giant did not realize it was a linnet. It had been so long since he heard a bird sing that he had almost forgotten how they sounded. Can we now continue the short story about the giant, class? Okay, so please focus. So, the giant ran out into his garden. Upon seeing the giant, the children ran away, except one. A little boy, he had been trying to climb up in a tree in the farthest corner of the garden. Spring still had not reached that corner. The north wind was still blowing at full speed. On seeing this, the giant walked up to the little child. The child did not see the giant coming towards to him as he was crying bitterly. Or, natatakot yung bata kasi nga, may malaking higante na papalapit sa kanya. So, the giant picked the little children up and gently put him on a branch of the tree. The moment the giant put up the children on the tree branch, it blossomed again. So the flowers of the trees are blossomed again. So the little child hugged the giant tightly for putting him up on the tree. How selfish have I been? The giant realization. The very next day, he picked up a hammer and knocked all the walls down. I now know why the spring had abandoned my garden. My garden shall be the children's playground. From that day onwards, the children used to come and play in his garden. So, do you know what happens next, class? Okay, let us all finish and listen carefully what was happened next. So, the giant too played with them. But the little boy who had hugged the giant never showed up again. The giant waited and waited, but the boy never came back. One day, the giant asked one of the children, "Where is your little companion?" said the giant. "The one who I put on the tree." They told him that they did not know the little boy. The giant became quite sad, but he continued playing with the children, hoping that one day the giant will see the boy again. Years passed. The giant grew old and feeble. He could not play with the children anymore. So, he used to sit in a huge armchair near the garden and watch the little children play. "My garden is beautiful," he thought one day. "But these children make it more beautiful. One winter morning, he looked out of his window while dressing up. He did not hate winters anymore, for he knew the spring would come again. The giant was surprised at what he saw in a corner of the garden. A tree was blooming. He rubbed his eyes and looked again. He rubbed his eyes and looked again. The tree was still blooming. It was covered with lovely white blossoms, and golden fruit hung from its branches. And underneath of the tree there was a boy standing over there, the very same boy whom the giant had been looking for. The giant quickly ran outside. As the giant came near the child, he became furious. He saw nail marks on the boy's palms and his tiny feet. "Who dared to hurt you?" asked the giant. The child peacefully looked at the giant and said, "You let me play in your garden one day. Today, you shall come with me to my garden, to my paradise." That afternoon, when the children came running into the giant's garden, they found him underneath the tree. The giant lay dead with a peaceful smile on his face, covered with beautiful, lovely white blossoms. So, that was all about the story of the selfish giant. It has a happy ending in his song because, he realizes that selfishness is not good in any human's heart. So, are you learned, class? Very good. As we can heard, this story has the following different elements we already discussed. In any literary text, these elements can be seen and encountered, especially, in making your own story writings. These elements must intact, bind, and use to make your story in writing form become more effective and creative. Always remember that. Do you understand, class? Great! Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed about the short story that I have prepared and read for you. So class, what is the importance of literary text in learning? Or what we call the different literatures. So, these literary texts like what we have learned today, just like the short story, are very important in learning because it helps us to become a good reader, and you can also acquire enough knowledges and information from the printed literary text, or can be from visualization or from quoted text you usually encounter. And like now, we are more on different technologies or devices which you can only browse or search those different short stories. So by that, we can acquire and adopt more different learning and knowledges we must need to enhance within ourselves. So how is it important to know and be familiar to the elements of the short story in learning or in any literary text class? Yes, very good. Also, the elements of a short story or any literary text are very important to know and determine because it helps us to construct concrete sample or examples of stories by using those we tackled earlier, those elements as a format and guide for us to build and create concrete short stories or any literary text. So, it also makes every text to become familiar and maintains the entertainment in reading any literary text. So, because reading helps you to improve and enhances your knowledge and skills for learning enrichment. Do you understand, class? Okay, that's good to know. Now, let's make a short generalizations about our lesson we discussed today. So, our lesson was all about the elements of the very good elements of the story, or what we call the short story. So, we also discussed about literary texts wherein, yes, literary texts intend the readers to entertain. The work of literature is always in a coded text. So, it may use figurative languages as a whole. It always communicates ideas from different literal meaning. So, as we read any kind of literary text, it expresses the thoughts, the feelings of the author in creative way. So, literary text uses descriptive and figurative languages. So, what are those elements again, class? Yes? Very good, thank you. So, when we say setting, what was all about setting? Great, the place where and when the short story happens. What about the characters? What was all about characters? Yes? Great! Characters are the persons or persona or the leading roles we can find or view or seen in any literary text or such in, yes, short story. So, the next element was, yes? Great job! So, the next element was the problem or the conflict. So, these are the issues. And just like what I've said, the conflict, it can happen in the short story or any literary text for the creativity and effectivity of any literary text. So, it can make the literary text more meaningful. The next term was, what was the next element, class? Very good, the solution. Or just simply, yes, very good. The way which the leading role or the main role will, how to solve the problem or the conflict he or she may encounter in the literary text or any literary pieces. So, what was the last element, class? Do you remember? Very good. That theme. So, when we say what was all about the theme? Yes, when we say the theme, these are the main ideas can be found in any literary text or in a short story, or what we call the POV or the point of view. Again, point of view. Now, do you have any other questions, class? If none, do you have any clarifications? Okay, are you sure? Great, that's good to hear. So, if all things are clear, can you give yourselves a very good clap? Okay, so let me share how was the very good clap. So, 1, 2, 3. Very good, very good, very good. Once again. Very good, children. You are all excellent. Great job. Thumbs up to that. Again, thumbs up to that.